Welcome in, Buckeye Nation and college football fans across the country. I am the Wild Man, Chris Wilds, and I am coming to you today with the final regular season edition of the OHIO podcast Game Day Preview Show. That's right, your reigning, defending, undisputed national champions and current number one team in the nation are about to face off today against the Scum Loserines. And that is just one of the huge games we're going to cover today as rivalry week continues and concludes this college football season. We are going to take a look back at the games that have been played already around the nation thus far this weekend. Going to preview the upcoming games and, of course, deep dive that Ohio State versus Skunk Weasels game later this afternoon. So strap in your seatbelts because here we go. Guys, we are going to start off on the national picture today. That being, we're going to start and going to break this down conference by conference. We're going to start with the G5. Now, nationally, in games with real playoff implication, we haven't seen a lot as far as the G5 goes. Last night, we did see Navy improve to 9-2, 7-1 in the ACC, destroying Memphis. Navy, of course, was, as you'll recall, my preseason favorite to win the Group of Five entry into the CFP. They do still have a slim chance, but they will need to win the American Conference. However, they're going to need some help to get that conference title game. North Texas, who owns the head-to-head versus Navy, took down Temple last night, securing their spot in the game. The current G5 favorite is Tulane at number 24. They would have to fall to 1-10 Charlotte for Navy to get a shot. So it looks to me like your Group of Five entrant is going to come down to Tulane or James Madison. James Madison, 10-1, 7-0 in the Sun Belt. They're going to play the winner of today's Troy Southern Miss game for the Sun Belt title next week. Presuming both Tulane and James Madison win out, which they should, the committee has a decision to make. They have to decide, does James Madison's strength of schedule put them over Tulane? Or does Tulane's quality loss versus number 7 Ole Miss give them the edge? Given the fact that Tulane currently does sit ranked at number 24, I think we kind of have the answer there. So that's what we're looking at with the G5 across the country today. Now, the ACC, guys, the ACC is an absolute mess. This conference has 5 teams that are currently ranked in the top 25, though number 23 Georgia Tech likely falls from the rankings following their 16-9 loss yesterday to end-state rival Georgia. This is the highest ranked of the ACC teams is number 12 Miami, which has virtually no shot to even play for their conference title. Miami could still make it to the CFP as an at-large bid, but they've got to go out and take care of number 22 Pitt today. Both teams, if you look at these guys, both lost to a common opponent, Louisville. Miami beat number 9 Notre Dame earlier this season, while Pitt was pretty much systematically dismantled by the Fighting Irish. Pitt has to win the ACC to get the automatic bid if they have any hopes, any aspirations of the CSP. That being said, they not only need to beat Miami, but they need number 21 SMU to fall to Cal and or number 18 Virginia to fall to Virginia Tech. Both of those circumstances are highly unlikely. So let's start out. We're going to dive into that Miami-Pitt game just a little bit. Now, Miami and Pitt today sets up as that classic contrast of styles. But the resume against common opponents adds a layer of intrigue. Miami rolls in top 20 defense, allowing under 2 touchdowns per game, riding a 3-game surge in which it's absolutely hammered its last 3 opponents in Syracuse, North Carolina State, and Virginia Tech by a combined margin of 80 points, including a 38-3 rout of Syracuse and a multi-score win over North Carolina State. Pitt, on the other hand, you look at these guys, and they've leaned into that run-first identity behind Ja'Carrion Turner. They have a physical offensive line. This is highlighted by a 200-plus yard outburst in last week's win by Turner. And the Panthers have also taken care of Syracuse and Virginia Tech by comfortable margins. Both teams stumbled to Louisville. But whereas Miami fell in a tight one possession game, Pitt struggled a little more than that. And then you look, the measuring stick for both of these teams is probably Notre Dame. Number 9 Notre Dame fell to Miami. Miami beat Notre Dame, but easily defeated the Pitt Panthers in their own house. So if you look at it as against the ACC common foes like Syracuse, Virginia Tech, both teams have dominated. But Miami's scoring margin is slightly stronger. Its yards per play differential ranks among the ACC's best. And while Pitt's profile is more of shortening games, controlling tempo, trusting in the defense in the fourth quarter, this game, it depends whose tempo rules out. It really does. You look at the weather for today and how that could affect these guys. The game is at Pitt. It is going to be a cold, potentially wet day in Pittsburgh. And I'll tell you, that to me does favor the run heavy Pitt style of offense. Temperatures near kickoff are going to be near freezing, light breeze. But the Hurricanes are a superior team. I truly believe that they are efficient. They have a slightly better track record against common opponents. I think that they are physical enough to hang with Pitt. So we'll have to see what happens there. This is ultimately going to come down to, I think, defense and red zone trips with touchdowns. As we go through the ACC, there's 2 more games of consequence, really. One of them is being SMU versus Cal. The number 21 SMU Mustangs, they do head into Berkeley to face the Golden Bears in a crucial final season finale for them. They could clinch a title berth simply by beating Cal today. They're 8-3. They're atop the standings. SMU's offense has been explosive, led by quarterback Kevin Jennings, who's got nearly 3,000 yards passing. Running back TJ Harden is rushing at about 613 yards on the season. And it's allowing SMU to average over 30 points a game in recent outings. They're a very balanced attack, and they like to keep defenses off balance. In contrast, you got Cal, who's sitting 6-5. They're bowl eligible. A decent team, although still reeling from a midseason firing of their coach, Justin Wilcox. This is an offense that's sputtering right now. They're getting about 24 a game, and they're getting decent quarterback play, but they've been hampered by a very limited ground game, averaging only 3.2 yards per carry. Defensively, SMU's record or has recorded 5 interceptions, rather. You've got forcing about 1.5 turnovers per game. I think that gives them the edge over a Cal unit that allows nearly 270 yards passing per game. Injuries could disrupt the rhythm for both sides. Cal's got some serious depth concerns. Tight end Landon Morris is going to, and running back Jaden Parker are both questionable in this game. The Bears are going to also be without tight end Mason Meny and wide receiver Jordan King, who have already been ruled out for this game. So they're coming in hobbling. And I think this probably leads to an SMU rout in this one, and them securing their spot in next week's ACC championship game. So the most likely opponent for them in that championship game is going to be Virginia. And Virginia Tech is at Virginia today As they play for the Commonwealth Cup, Virginia is a favorite, 9-2 record, top 20 ranking, a more efficient, balanced offense than the 3-8 Virginia Tech team, which has struggled to finish drives um, or generate explosive plays. You've got a night kickoff tonight at Scott Stadium. Temperatures are expected to be in the low to mid 30s. Dry conditions, which is good. This game sets up, I think, towards a heavy physical run type game, which I think Virginia has, and cleaner execution than what you might see from Virginia Tech. Virginia's defense is going to be without star linebacker Cam Robinson. He, of course, went down with a season-ending knee injury, which removes a high volume tackler, and a on-field leader from the unit. It also potentially opens up a spot for running lanes for that Hokies offense, which has been inconsistent, but still has been able to have enough speed to exploit some opportunities. Virginia Tech comes in. They've got a lengthy injury list, wide receiver, running back, thinning depth, limited matchup flexibility. Virginia's skill group is in good shape with Chandler Morris and productive back Jamari Tyler. Given Virginia's superior record, they've got home field advantage and just a more trustworthy red zone offense, guys. I really feel like what we're going to find here is if the Cavaliers are going to easily win this one, I'm thinking probably a double-digit win here as Virginia goes and beats Virginia Tech. I'm thinking probably something around 28-15 score. Now, as we look at the other rivalries through the rivalry games this rivalry week through the ACC, number 9 Notre Dame is traveling to Stanford. While they're not an official member of the ACC, Notre Dame and Stanford is a rivalry game that has stood for years. The Irish have a massive, massive advantage in this one, guys. It was about a 32-point spread the last I saw on this game, nearing about a 50-point over-under. Notre Dame's a top 10 offense. They've got a great 1-2 punch out of the backfield. You got a Heisman contender in Jeremiah Love, who's over 1,300 yards, has 17 touchdowns. Jadarian Price, a great change of pace back. And they're facing a Stanford defense that ranks near the bottom nationally against the run. While the Cardinal offense has struggled to crack 20 points this season, Notre Dame's offense has just been so explosive here as of late. This does not bode well for Stanford. I would not be at all surprised to see Notre Dame covering this one. Notre Dame is looking to finish 10-2 to stay relevant in the college football playoff mix. So this is going to create a level of urgency on that Notre Dame sideline. Given the massive edge and efficiency on both sides of the ball, the dominant run game, Stanford's porous defense, the expectation that the Irish are going to control both sides of this line of scrimmage, lean on a ground game, and just pull away. I got this one at like 41-13 Notre Dame, guys. I just don't think that Stanford even stands a chance. Around the rest of the conference, you have Louisville with a home field advantage and a higher ceiling offense. I think they're going to be able to outlast Kentucky. Visiting from the SEC, it's going to be potentially cold, slick conditions. And the Cardinals are just so efficient. I just think that this is easily a Louisville game. We have the Palmetto Bowl, which has ACC's Clemson versus SEC teams South Carolina. South Carolina has an edge in the turnover. They've got a good home crowd. Clemson has not looked great this season, obviously. The Gamecocks have been in some games they probably shouldn't have been. So as I look at this one, guys, I just don't see any way to pick a clear-cut winner, to be honest. I think this is going to be a very, very close game. I think it's going to be a low possession, low scoring game. And given what I've seen from South Carolina and what the scares they've given some teams, even though a lot of people were liking Clemson in this one. I think I'm going to take South Carolina. Boston College. Boston College is on the slate, and they are going to be playing against Syracuse. Syracuse, a team that was absolutely humiliated recently by Notre Dame. Um, this is a Syracuse defense and turnover prone offense that I think still gets a nod over just a really, really bad Boston College team that is riding a 10-game losing streak. They don't have the ability to finish drives. The Orange are a higher scoring team and will most likely absolutely just outplay these guys. Duke, you've got a healthier Blue Devils passing game and home field advantage versus a Wake Forest team that has looked good at times. But I like Duke with a late surge to win this one. Now, and excuse my stuffiness, guys. I am so sorry. I'm a little stuffy here today. And then obviously we're going to go to Florida versus Florida State. This is a game that was two teams that, following that win against Alabama, I think a lot of people had high hopes for these two teams. A lot of people thought we may even see 3 potential Florida teams in the college football playoff. Well, Florida and Florida State have drastically declined from week 1, let me tell you. And in Gainesville, you're going to have comfortable temperatures, low chance of rain. Florida State has greater defensive consistency. And I think they've been playing with more of a sense of urgency than Florida. Florida, a lot of talent. But you know what? This one's tough for me. This is tough. I mean, if we get the Florida State team that came out against Alabama, I think this is an easy Florida State victory. If we get the Florida team that come out against Georgia and narrowly lost one that was handed to them handed to Georgia with bad officiating, I think that Florida comes out on top. To me, guys, this is a coin flip. And then the final ACC rivalry game we've got this week is going to be NC State and their superior run game, defensive pressure, and really strong home trends that I think give them a clear edge over Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels. This is a Tar Heels team that struggled to move the ball, struggled to finish games. And I think this is probably going to be a double-digit win for North Carolina State. So, that being said, we're looking at an ACC that's been a train wreck all season. Despite the high hopes for Miami and Clemson at the beginning of the year, the championship game is most likely going to feature. Sorry about that. It's going to feature SMU at 8-3, 6-1 in the ACC, probably versus Virginia 9-2, 6-1 in the ACC. Guys, a conference that I think has really fallen, probably ranks as the 4th best of the Power 4 conferences at this time. And Miami seems to be the sole hope for this conference, I think, to have 2 teams in the CFP. And I think that's up in the air. So that's where we're at with the ACC. Let's slide over to the Big 12 real quick. The Big 12 championship game, a game that's already been slated. It's going to be number 11 BYU, who's going to play Texas Tech. And that doesn't matter as to the outcome of this week's games. That is going to determine your conference champion. Now, last night we saw number 13 Utah close out its season with a big win over Kansas, 31-21. Prevented the bowl eligibility of the Jayhawks, kept them from 6-6. Utah now just has to sit at home and wait to see if they get enough help to get them up into the college football playoff picture. I think it's unlikely, but weirder things have happened. Meanwhile, Arizona State and Arizona played in an in-state battle last night. Number 25, Arizona did knock off Arizona State 23-7. Yesterday's two matchups, guys, as I look at the slate for today, yesterday's two matchups may have been the best the conference had to offer as far as rivalry week goes, as the remaining slate seems to have several mismatches or otherwise who cares matches. And while today's matchups lack intrigue or pivotal potential matchups that could define the conference pecking order or the CFP, when you have weather and injuries looming as potential wild cards, I guess anything could happen. I think the headline game today is going to be number 5 Texas Tech as they travel to West Virginia. The Mountaineers hope to capitalize on their home field advantage and the possible absence of obviously Texas Tech's star wide receiver due to a late week injury, but Tech's they're so deep, specifically defensively. They've got a balanced attack that should provide a comfortable win in this one, guys. I don't see a whole lot of opportunity for the Mountaineers here. Houston's going to visit Baylor, where they've got forecasted rain. That could tilt what was expected to be an otherwise tight contest. Baylor does have a strong ground game. And if Houston's banged up defensive line can't hold up, this is a game that could swing towards Baylor. Colorado is going to take on Kansas State in the Who Gives a Crap Bowl right now, guys. Because as you look at this one, Kansas State's going to be favored at home. They like to run the game. They like to control the tempo. And I think they'll be able to do that easily against a very down Colorado team. Iowa State, they're going to face off against Oklahoma State in a matchup potentially impacted by a lot of wind gusts. That's going to make passing tricky. Oklahoma State's running back, if he's healthy, could be the difference maker in securing a win here. We've got Central Florida. They're going to go and they're going to travel to BYU. BYU's got a stout defense and home altitude. That makes a difference. It could stymie some of USC's explosive plays. I think this is going to be a comfortable win for BYU, guys. And then lastly, Cincinnati's going to travel to Texas to take on TCU. Both teams are bowl eligible, but TCU's home field advantage and productive passing game, I think, may tilt the game a little bit towards the Horned Frogs. And that's hard for me to say as an Ohio guy who really wants to see Cincinnati do well. I just don't think that this is going to be their opportunity. Okay. The SEC, guys. We're getting closer. We're getting closer to what I know you all want, and that's the Big Ten. But the SEC, we got to touch on them first. Now, we've touched on some of their games already in interconference games, but here we go. The SEC saw 5 of its 8 ranked teams in action yesterday. Number 16, Texas. Guys, they proved they're not dead in that CFP talk just yet, as they took down number 3, Texas A&M yesterday, 27-17. Texas, I think, continues to have a valid argument for the CFP, even with 3 losses. When you look at their strength of schedule, 3 top 10 wins, 2 of their 3 losses came against number 1 Ohio State, and the team that's going to be the presumptive soon to be number 3 in Georgia. The Florida loss was rough, but it was close. And the Swamp, guys, the Swamp is not an easy place to play. And I think that the committee may give that consideration. 3 losses to me is a lot to overlook, but I think the argument is there. Number 7, Ole Miss, they won their game yesterday over Mississippi State, 38-19. And now Ole Miss is just playing, let's sit back and wait and see. They have to wait and see the outcome of today's Alabama versus Auburn Iron Bowl game. Because should Auburn pull the upset, Ole Miss will be facing Georgia for the SEC crown. And speaking of Georgia, they stamped their ticket to the conference championship game last night with a ranked win versus in-state rival number 23 Georgia Tech. They beat them 16-9. So let's dive into the few other SEC games of consequence if we could. I mentioned the Iron Bowl earlier, guys. That's obviously the big one. If Bama wants to play for an SEC crown, they've got to beat their in-state rival. It's that simple. Alabama enters into Jordan here as the deeper, more complete team with SEC and CFP title hopes positioning here on the line. Auburn's got a physical defense and a rotating quarterback run game that we're going to have to see how that works against Alabama. This is an Auburn team that did challenge Georgia. Again, Georgia, the beneficiaries of some friendly officiating in this one, or else Auburn may very well have knocked them off. It's going to be a cold, hostile environment night game. The Tigers are stout against the run. They're disruptive in the backfield. Alabama's offense has been uneven behind Ty Simpson and will be with multiple depth pieces out, guys. They're struggling at tight end. They're struggling at running back. That could cause Kalen DeBoer to shrink his playbook a little bit in the red zone. Auburn's likely a mix of Jackson Arnold, Ashton Daniels, Deuce Knight, and DJ Durkin give some flexibility. They can stress Alabama with the quarterback run and option looks. Kane Womack's defense has been top 10 level defense against scoring all season. They create timely negative plays. They create turnovers. Guys, this is a game that a lot of people are wanting to just hand right now to Alabama. But I'm telling you, this is an Auburn team that's going to fight. And it means more for them in this one because they have the opportunity to keep their in-state rival from getting to the SEC championship game and potentially from getting to the college football playoff. The temperatures tonight are going to be cool but dry. Kickoff temps around 40. It's going to dip into the low 40s, high 30s during the second half. And that favors whichever side can run the ball more consistently, obviously, who can protect the ball. And if this is a low-scoring game, a game of field position, anything can happen. Now, given Alabama's significant edge in offensive talent and their defensive consistency, late game experience, I think the expectation is that Alabama is eventually going to just hold on and win this one. But, one or two things go wrong for Bama, and Auburn could steal this. Still, if you're asking me right now, I'm going to favor Alabama in this one. And we will probably see a Alabama-Georgia SEC title rematch. In another game that does potentially have some consequence to the CFP, number 14 Vanderbilt travels to Neyland Stadium. They're going to take on in-state rival number 19 Tennessee. While both these teams would need a whole lot of help to have an impact on the college football playoff scene, it's not unheard of, guys. It is not unheard of. Tennessee's got home field advantage. They've got an improved defense. And Vanderbilt, as of recent, has had some red zone inconsistencies. I think that makes the Volunteers a slight favorite. They project as a one-score favorite with Vanderbilt, kind of having their playoff hopes swaying in the wind. I think you can expect a tight, momentum-swinging contest. I think you're going to see Tennessee's pass rush and balanced offense with quarterback Joey Aguilar come out and try to just be efficient. I don't think they're going to be extremely explosive. I think they want to control this game, and they want to keep that explosive Vanderbilt offense off the field. Vanderbilt, they're coming off a dominant win versus Kentucky. They've got a compelling resume. But Tennessee, having already had its own CFP ambitions eliminated, guys, they got pride to play for. This is a nothing to lose spot for Tennessee. So I think they come out and they play angry and they play hyped, and we see what happens. I mean, Vanderbilt is down some depth. They're down a defensive lineman. They've lost some depth pieces as well. That could thin their rotation up front, and that could definitely impact their ability to win this game. So watch for Tennessee, whose defense is quietly created sacks. They've generated pressure. Of course, kneeling does give them an advantage. The Vols if they have space to rush the passer, and if they can feed off the crowd noise, guys, this could be a Tennessee win and the end of the Commodores' playoff hopes. Now, there's a few other matchups in the SEC that are going on this weekend. We've got Oklahoma, and they are in Norman to face LSU. It's going to shape up to be a very physical, defense-tilted game where I think the Sooners' depth and home field advantage should just overcome a banged-up roster for LSU. So I like Oklahoma in that one. You got Missouri. They're going to take a trip to a chilly and possibly wet Fayetteville to take on Arkansas. I like Missouri's opportunities here. Arkansas can be a challenging team to play, but I do like Missouri versus Arkansas in this one. So as we look at this, guys, it all comes down to this. It's time to talk about it. It's the Big Ten. And rivalry week to me hits a little different in the Big Ten. Big Ten rivalry week is like no other. You've got the Old Oaken Bucket, the Heroes Trophy, the Land of Lincoln Trophy, the Victory Bell, the Battle of the Northwest, Paul Bunyan's axe, and of course, the greatest rivalry in all of sports, the game. And that's all going on this weekend. Now, a few of those have already been decided. But one thing is for sure, as few as 3 and as many as 5 Big Ten teams are playing for more than pride. They're playing for more than a rivalry trophy. They are playing for their conference and college football lives. Now, Indiana, they've already secured their spot in the Big Ten title game, as well as the college football playoff. Indiana finished the season 12-0 with a 56-3 dismantling of Purdue yesterday. Guys, this is an Indiana team that's real. That is real. And they're very good offensively. They're very good defensively. But are they up to the measuring stick is the question. And we all know the measuring stick in the Big Ten Conference has been and will continue to be the Ohio State Buckeyes. In action yesterday as well, Iowa took down Nebraska 40-16. Both those teams just sitting around at this point and awaiting their respective bowl invitations. However, there are several games, guys, still to be played, including 3 of major consequence. So let's dive into those. We're going to start with the games that have little or no impact on the conference or CFP standings. Wisconsin, Minnesota. It's the Paul Bunyan's axe. It's snowy. It's mid-20s. This sets up a slugfest with Wisconsin's top 25 run defense against a Minnesota team that does like to run the ball, that is going to probably struggle to pass the ball given the weather conditions. A Minnesota team that late season defensive injuries have affected. And I kind of think this tilts this game towards the Badgers. If Wisconsin can protect a banged up quarterback room enough to avoid turnovers in the cold and the snow, I think that Luke Fickell and his squad pulls this one out. We're going to go to Penn State and Rutgers. And this looks like a physical, ground heavy battle between 2 5 and 6 teams that are playing for bowl eligibility. One of them is going to play again, one of them is not. Penn State, they've lost Drew Aller for the season. It's a deeper talent base, even without Aller, than what Rutgers' porous run defense is used to. This is a team allowing over 200 yards rushing per game. Guys, favor a grinded out Nittany Lions win. I think it could be multiple scores. This is a run game for Penn State that's just going to dominate today. Maryland and Michigan State play at Forbes Field in the Who Gives a Crap Bowl because weather's not going to be an issue. Both teams are mired in losing streaks. Michigan State's slightly better recent efficiency, steadier quarterback play from Aiden Childs. And Maryland's to every year November collapse kind of support a narrow Spartan victory. But we will have to wait and see in what many would call a flip of the coin game. Northwestern plays Illinois today. This shapes up as a rivalry game that, it does have some impact. Illinois has got a stronger scoring profile, home field success. Northwestern's got a cluster of injuries on defense. Multiple defensive backs are out. Front seven pieces that are either out or questionable. I think this one points towards the Illini pulling away late, especially if the passing game clicks in again against that thin Wildcats secondary. I think this is going to be a multiple score game. So now we're going to hop into the games of consequence, guys. Let's start with the battle for Northwest supremacy. That's right. The number 6 Oregon Ducks are going to travel to Husky Stadium in Seattle today to face off against the Washington Huskies in a pivotal rivalry clash with Big Ten and CFP implications. Oregon comes in as a 6.5-point favorite with one of the nation's most balanced and efficient teams. They ranked 10th in scoring, 8th in points allowed, compared to Washington's still potent scoring game, which is 35.5, and a solid defense. The Ducks' recent dominance and explosive attack, led by a very, very healthy lineup and a quarterback who is in great form right now, I think makes them a clear favorite. But Washington's mobile quarterback, Damon Williams, he could be the X factor. That and the home field advantage and some recent woes by Oregon against Washington, they could play a factor. Oregon's going to be without a few contributors, key contributors. Washington still has a lot of question marks through its running back room, its offensive line. Some key defensive spots have guys that listed as questionable. However, the offensive playmakers for both sides of the ball are expected to play. It's going to be a cool, damp Seattle day. Highs are supposed to be in the upper 40s, only a slight chance of rain. Meanwhile, neither team should face significant environmental disadvantage. So for two pass-heavy offenses, guys, this is a good story. I think Oregon's projected to win right now by about a touchdown. With CFP stakes on the line, their deeper roster, defensive discipline, I got to give Oregon the slight edge, guys. Look at Washington to hang close, but I think Oregon pulls away later on and keeps the Ducks' CFP hopes alive. Now, another team with, I think, wavering CFP hopes. Highly unlikely they get there at 8-3. It would take a litany of upsets for them to get there, but USC enters today's crosstown game against crosstown rival UCLA. with a top 20 offense, balanced or top 20 ranking, a balanced offense under Lincoln Riley. This is a team that struggled badly down the stretch at times. The Bruins 3-8. They're eliminated from any bowl competition contention. They have serious questions at quarterback, in the secondary. This is a Trojans attack that's just going to absolutely destroy UCLA. This is a game that I don't see a whole lot of opportunity for the Bruins to even be competitive in. I can honestly tell you, I look for starting quarterback Jaden Maivia and playmakers like Malachi Lemon and Jacoby Lane. Those guys may be out by as soon as halftime, just because I think that this one gets out of control quickly. Especially if Nico Iamaleava fails to play, and he is listed day to day with neck spasms. So, guys, that brings us to the one you guys have been waiting for. You guys have been waiting for this one all day long, all week long, all year long, and that is the game. Ohio State is going to enter the game with the nation's most dominant defense and a much, much more efficient and explosive offense than Michigan. Those are just facts. Michigan's going to counter with an elite rushing attack, however, hampered by the injury of Justice Haynes, who was on pace to become one of the nation's leading backs. Jordan Marshall, is he 100%? Is he 75%? Is he 50%? I don't know, but I've been told he is going to play. They have a top 15 scoring defense. They like to shorten the game and play keep away, but you know what? That's been Ryan Day's game this year. Ohio State is running as few, if not fewer, plays than any team in college football this year. They are taking longer per play than any team in college football this year. They have been playing this style of offense. But will that continue? You got to match up the doubles as a de facto Big Ten semifinal and college football play-in. I mean, the Buckeyes' balance and defensive ceiling obviously give them an edge. But you know what? The last 4 years would indicate that maybe, just maybe, Michigan could pull this off. Now, the stakes in this one are high. This is a rivalry game layered on top of a college football playoff elimination game for Michigan, layered on top of a Big Ten championship play-in game for potentially both these teams. You've got a trip to Indianapolis and a virtual lock for the college football playoff attached to this game. Number 15 Michigan likely needs an upset here in order to make the college football playoff. That's the only way they stay in the hunt for the Big Ten and in the hunt for the college football playoff, is for them to upset Ohio State. Ryan Day and his group trying to snap a 4-game losing streak in the game, validate the season-long number 1 ranking for which they've been given so much grief. Sharon Moore trying to extend Michigan's recent dominance in the rivalry, however ill-gotten it may be, and keep his first full year from drifting into full-on rebuild mode, guys. There's a lot of emotional weight attached to this, massive emotional weight on both sidelines. For Ohio State, you've got veterans on this team who have never beaten Michigan. You have guys on the other side who have never lost to Ohio State. Ohio State, as I said, brings in the best defense in the country. By any traditional metric, the Buckeyes rank number 1 in total defense at 206.6 yards per game. Scoring defense at 7.6 points per game. They lead in the country in passing defense, red zone defensive efficiency. Matt Patricia has allowed just 3.76 yards per play and only 9 offensive touchdowns through 11 games this year. They have a back seven, which is headlined by All-American talent, Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs. Many national analysts, not just me, not just Ohio State people, not just Big Ten people, many national analysts consider this the single best defensive unit in college football. Michigan counters. They've got a defense that's top 15 nationally in both yardage, giving up 303 yards per game, and scoring, giving up 17.9 per game. They're built around a stingy front seven. They allow typically under 100 yards per game. Only allow on average 3 yards per carry. And they have a system that forces opponents into longer fields and third and medium situations. So offensively, while Ohio State is more balanced and explosive, Michigan may be more defined and intentional in their persona. The Buckeyes pair a top passing attack and a quality run game, while the Wolverines are clearly a run first, lean on that run, not volume through the air. Michigan averages 421.5 yards per game, 29.3 points per game, ranking top 30 nationally in offense, top 10 in rushing at 224.6 yards per game, 5.7 yards per carry. You've got the Wolverines passing game, which is quite a bit lesser than their running game, obviously. 197 yards per game, 7.8 yards per attempt. But they're inconsistent. They've been turnover prone at stretches from that quarterback position. That's going to be a recurring storyline. For Ohio State, the offense hinges on how comfortable Julian Sayin is. And how comfortable Julian Sayin is going to depend upon how healthy are Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, both who are slated to play today. And then, of course, you've got the wild cards in this one, guys. You've got the wild cards. Ohio State, the defense is built in part on continuity and health in the front seven and the secondary. So any kind of injuries, be it to Downs, Styles, anything like that, could drastically alter the outcome of this game. Even though we've got quality guys in the two deep, and we like to say next man up, it could be a long way between number one and number two. Are the Buckeyes going to be able to bracket and contain Michigan's run game? Are they going to be able to disguise coverages? Is Matt Patricia going to be able to throw things at Underwood that he is just not used to seeing and force him into mistakes? I think, to me, guys, the X factor in this one is definitely Matt Patricia and what he draws up. That being said, weather is already being talked about by a lot of people as a potential factor in this game. And it's not going to just suppress one passing game. It's going to suppress both. However, I mean, you've got they're calling for wind, they're calling for snow, they're calling for cold weather. I think this is going to be a game where I don't know that Michigan's passing game can operate in this. I just don't. I think Ohio State has built a great short passing game as well. I think they have a passing game with their tight ends, with short slants, with crossing routes that can still be effective. And I think that gives them a slight advantage in the passing game, obviously, should the weather turn ugly. But I've got to give the run game advantage to Michigan right now. If this is a bad weather game, Ohio State, Ryan Day, Brian Hartline, they're going to have to come out. They're going to have to be aggressive. They're going to have to resist the urge to become predictable. They're going to have to manufacture ways to get this running game moving. But at the same time, they have to make sure they don't forget who they are. If they do that, Ohio State's not going to have a problem today. So, here it is. Every year around this time, we start hearing Michigan fans whispering, talking, being obnoxious about how this is the year. This is the time of year they're built for. This is what they do. They come out, they destroy the Buckeyes. That's all they are. And every year, for the last 4 years without fail, Ohio State has failed to be able to shut them up. And I understand the cheating. I understand the chickening out. But there was no excuse last year. This is an Ohio State team that for years now we have said is built to compete at the national level, while Michigan has been built to beat Ohio State. What happens this week? Can Ohio State change that narrative? Can Ryan Day finally get this monkey off his back? Well, I'll tell you what, guys. There's a lot riding on this. Let's start with the stakes. A Buckeye win keeps us perfect. Locks in a trip to the Big Ten championship game, and all but slaps a "you're done" sticker on the Loserines. It very well could get us a first round bye. And this is something I'm going to argue for all along, especially with A&M going down. If you have a one-loss Ohio State or Indiana team that loses a close Big Ten championship game to the other, both those guys are going to get first-round byes. And let's be honest. At this point, a win in Ann Arbor, it's something we don't just want, we need. We have to have it. Michigan says not going to happen. Not this year. Well, I'm going to tell you what, the Buckeyes are saying it is going to happen. We've got the roster. We have the talent. We've got the best defense in the country. Michigan wants to talk about upset. Oh, bless their hearts, let me tell you. They keep saying the Wolverines are alive. Like that goldfish that's still flopping up on the dock after you've reeled it in. Sure, they need an Oregon collapse. And a miracle win versus Ohio State. And they could make it to the Big Ten title game. I don't think those things happen. This is a team that's already been slapped around by Oklahoma and outclassed by USC, neither of which are even close to the caliber of Ohio State. So here's how and why this is going to go exactly the way I'm telling you. Ohio State is superior to Michigan in every phase that matters. Defensively, it's not even close. The Buckeyes don't just stop opponents, they suffocate them. They erase running lanes, they erase passing windows, they erase hopes, and they are going to erase Michigan's dreams. Michigan has to run the football to win. Has to. No plan B. Their quarterback sucks. Ohio State's run defense is a brick wall with barbed wire on top of it. Once these guys become officially one dimensional, Ohio State can just unleash the dogs. And when Michigan can't run, they'll have no alternative but to turn to the true freshman who is very prone to make mistakes and who I think Matt Patricia is just going to toy with. He's going to have fun playing with his food. Now let's talk secondary play. Ohio State pass defense is elite. It's not good, it's elite. You've got NFL talent out there all over the perimeter. And you want to throw on these guys when your ground game gets stuffed, guys, it's not going to happen. Good luck. Michigan doesn't have the outside weapons to scare this group, and they know it. Now, combine that with Ohio State's perimeter firepower and a bad Michigan backfield, defensive backfield. Ohio State, arguably the two best receivers in the country at 1 and 2, has the best tight end room in the country, has very good running back room. Young but talented. Guys, this is the difference between a pocket knife and a sword. Michigan might cut you and make you bleed a little bit, but Ohio State will absolutely slice you in half. The script for this game isn't complicated. Not at all. It'll be tense. Both teams are going to feel each other out early. Michigan's going to pull out every trick, dirty or otherwise, in the book that they can to stay afloat. But eventually, it's this simple. Talent wins out. Ohio State forces one or two Michigan mistakes, a tip pass, a strip sack, a blown blocking assignment, and then the Buckeyes move in for the kill. Stringing together late scoring drives, finally flipping the narrative back to where it belongs. But that's not where it ends. Because from there, Ohio State's going to steamroll into Indianapolis and destroy Indiana. Then they're going to come to the college football playoff gauntlet that they ran last year. And this team is built to conquer the college football playoff. Physicality, check. Speed, check. Depth, check. Championship DNA, double check. This team isn't just good enough to win it all again. This team is on a mission to destroy anything and everything in its path. My choice for this one, my score prediction, 38-10 Ohio State. I think it's a statement, it's a demolition, and it's a reminder of who the real power in the Big Ten is. All right, guys, that's the way the games break down for this week. We're going to hop in real quick right now, and we're going to finish up this episode with my Wildman's Weekend Locks, brought to you courtesy of MyBookie.com. Hop on over to MyBookie.com to place your wagers on all this weekend's action, and don't forget to enter the promo code OHIO to get up to $500 in bet back bonuses. So, guys, I've picked 5 great games to choose from this weekend. I'm going to start with Miami versus Pitt. I'm going to tell you, I'm rolling Miami, laying 6.5, and I'm going to tell you why right now. Miami's not just a better team, they're a way better team. I think 6.5 is low, but the money line implies about a 70% probability of win here. That's stronger than your average touchdown favorite, which tells me Vegas knows that the Hurricanes have a real chance to run away with this thing. Miami brings in that top 15 defense. They're dropping nearly 38 points a game, over 425 yards of offense per game. Defensively, oh baby. They're not Ohio State, but they're awfully good. only giving up 14.5 points a game, only allowing 282 yards per game. They are a top 10 defense and can score, sure, but they have not handled elite defenses well. Miami's defense could show themselves to be elite today. So I'm going to take Miami. I'm going to lay the 6.5 on that one, guys. Oregon versus Washington, that battle of the Northwest. Look, guys, sometimes sports books hang the number that just begs you to smash it. Oregon laying only 6.5. Guys, this is one of those beauties. The Ducks aren't just winning games right now. They're bullying teams with a nasty defense, only giving up around 12 a game. And on offense, that's the scores that they have. They score so lightning fast. Washington's no pushover, but every time they've stepped up in class this year, that offense has turned into a pumpkin, guys. Oregon's been covering these touchdownish spreads all season long. We're just being dared to bet this one, and I'm taking it. Take the Ducks, lay the 6.5. Here's one that's a fun one, and it's Vanderbilt, Tennessee. Two ranked opponents. Guys, Vanderbilt's getting 3 points in this one against Tennessee. Vandy rolls in 9-2. Pavia just threw for 484 yards and 5 touchdowns last week versus Kentucky. Tennessee right now can't buy a big game win. They're 0-3 versus ranked teams. They've only covered 5 out of 11 spreads this year. The Commodores, they've knocked off 3 ranked opponents and come in pretty hot offensively. While Tennessee's defense has been leaking oil in every high-scoring game this year, Tennessee, they haven't been trustworthy against the spread, just 2-3 against the spread in the last 5. I think the way this trends is I'm going to take Vanderbilt. I'm going to take Vanderbilt. Give me the 3 points, and I think they win this one actually at Tennessee. Now the two big ones, the Iron Bowl. Gotta go to the Iron Bowl first. Alabama here. They're going into Auburn 9-2. They're laying 5.5. This number to me seems short. I mean, I talked in my preview that there are routes to a Auburn win here, but the Tide, if you look at it on paper, they're simply the better football team on both sides of the ball. Bama's dropping 32.8 points, 403 yards a game. Auburn's, struggling quite a bit, scoring less than 24, only getting about 350 yards a game. Defensively, it's not even close. Alabama giving up just 17 points and 303 yards a night. Guys, defense travels. Auburn wants to run. The problem is Bama's only giving up about 139 yards of rushing per game. Strength on strength here. The Tide win that battle, I think, more often than not. Alabama's got a 1.2 turnover margin ratio, top 5 in the nation. I think this starts to look like a recipe for Alabama to cover. Most people are projecting about a 26-20 game or Tide win. Guys, I'm going to ride with that. I've got them at 27-20. I'm going to lay that 5.5 and take Alabama here. And then finally, the game, guys. This one looks like it should be simple. Ohio State's firing on all cylinders. Defense is unstoppable. Number one total defense, pass defense, scoring defense. Michigan's run game is solid, but without Justice Haynes is hampered. Walking straight into an Ohio State front that crushes ground attacks and forces long pass yardage. Offensively, Ohio State didn't need to light up to cover the 10.5 point spread here. They just need to control the clock, make smart drives, and let their defense do the heavy lifting. Will that be the plan? I don't know. Will they go out there and try to blow it up with JJ and Carnell both back in the game? That may depend on the weather. Michigan's had a rough go against the spread this year. They're 4-7. Bucks are 9-2 against the spread. Spread's 10.5. They've got the over/under set at 43.5. Man, I think you're not going to go wrong smashing the 10.5 in this one. I also don't know that the 43.5 you might not see a smash as well. But I think it's going to be a 38-10 game. I think that probably the over under. I think I take the over. I think I take the 10.5 point spread. I'm going to double up on this one. Bottom line, laid the 10.5 with the Buckeyes. And then Ohio State football, this is just what they do. All right, that's going to do it for our final regular season Saturday morning game preview show of 2025. Enjoy today's games. We'll see you next week for our championship week preview show. I also hope to see a lot of you today out at Baker's Pizza in Bucyrus, Ohio, for our big Ohio State Loserines game watch party. Doors are going to open at 11 o'clock. Myself, Eric, Buckeye Bart, the Schrock Star, all going to be there today. Hope to see a lot of you there as well. Make sure to get there early so that you do get a spot. I am the Wild Man, Chris Wilds, and until next time, good day, God bless, and go Bucks. Michigan sucks.